Hi, I'm Alex and welcome to Dreams of Green. Today it's a lovely Sunday afternoon and we've decided to go for a country drive. So when we're out for a drive, I'm always looking for what is growing naturally on the side of the road and what's fruiting, what's in seed. So today we've actually driven past and we've discovered these bush lemons, and I love bush lemons. They're not the prettiest lemons perhaps, but they're really tough, as you can see, just growing on the side of the road with absolute neglect, and they're super easy to grow. So because our lemons at home aren't quite ready, we've decided just to harvest a few lemons today, just to make some, we make lemon juice ice blocks, and I made a beautiful bush lemon syrup to go on a cake the other day. So we thought we may as well harvest some to eat, but also I'm going to show you how to propagate these from seed. So especially when you're just starting out getting a food forest established, what I found was it was really important to start with the really hardy things that thrived on neglect, so that I knew I could put them in the ground. Usually the best time was when it was raining or when there was a lot of expected rain to help it get established. And then I knew once it was in the ground and off and running, I didn't really have to worry about it because I knew that that's what they do in nature anyway. So I'll continue to harvest a few more. But again, when I'm out driving, I just like to try and observe what's happening around me and just try to mimic nature as best I can. And because I know these can tolerate a bit of frost, they can tolerate some kind of heavy clay soils, I felt it was a really good kind of pioneer fruit tree, if you like, for the food forest. So now we've got quite a few. I think this should do it. So now we've got a bag of bush lemons. I'll head home and I'll show you how to propagate these from seed in the nursery. So I'm back at home with all the bush lemons that we collected just off the side of the road. And to be honest, I cannot believe how hot it is at home. We were under the canopy of the trees going along the country road, and back home I've just checked the thermometer, it's 35 degrees and we're only midway through September in our spring. So I'm looking forward to these bush lemons. They'll be very refreshing. So I'll show you what to do. So basically you can see there what they look like. So they're quite a rough skin. They look a little bit different to your standard kind of Meyer lemon or Eureka lemon, but I just think they're a fantastically juicy and slightly sweet lemon. So if I twist and open like that, so I don't cut all the way through so I don't damage the seeds, you can see all the juice is just pouring out. Usually they've got quite a few seeds, but that's great because that's what we want to be able to propagate them. So what I'm going to do is actually squeeze the first one straight into my glass of water, and then I'll show you just how I squeeze them into the ice cube trays to make lemon. Oh my gosh, and all the aroma from the skin when I squeeze the juice, beautiful. So that's a great way to pop out all of the seeds. And then, here we go. So I just put all the seeds into a separate container. And then I'll just go through the rest of them and just squeeze them into a jug. Again, I can't believe the citrus oil from the skin. So again, just cutting kind of most of the way through, but not all the way through, so I don't slice the seeds. Okay, and again, just a twist, and there's juice going everywhere. Beautiful. So I've still got 4 left, huge bush lemons, and already I've got all of that juice. It's just over a cup of juice, And there are the seeds we've collected. So what I'm going to do is pour these into the ice cube trays and pop these in the freezer. And I just find when you've got an excess of lemons, it's just a really great way of preserving the juice, and especially when it's a hot day like today, it's really refreshing. Okay, so I'll put those in the freezer, and then I will go over into the nursery and show you how to propagate these from seed, and then show you what the little seedlings look like. So now I'm here in my shade house, and I'll show you how to propagate these bush lemon seeds. So the first thing you want to do is, I just use a container, I think this was an old mushroom container, and I just drill some holes in the bottom for drainage. Then what you want to do is, under my table, I just always keep a batch of, it's a mixture of sharp river sand, which I collect from the local creek, and just a blend of compost. So usually a 50-50 mix, as long as it's got good drainage, that's the main thing. I'll just firm it down lightly, just so there's no big air pockets in there. Okay. Then I just give it a quick water in, just to moisten the soil. I just spread my bush lemon seeds over the top. I just try to get them reasonably even, but I'm not too fussed because they germinate very readily. Okay, so I just spread them out like that. Then what I'm going to do is just put a light covering of the potting mixture, tap it down again so there's good contact of the soil with the seed. And once they're all covered, I'll just water them in again. Then it's important just to pop a label. So on the label, I will just write bush lemon. I will write where I found them in case they're really good ones and I want to collect some more next year. Okay, and then I just put today's date. So that way, if for some reason the seeds don't pop up in a few months, you can discard them and start again. But it's springtime now. Sometimes if you put them in before winter, they might take a little while to germinate. So always just wait till the temperatures warm up just to make sure they're not going to germinate before you throw them out if nothing's happened. But bush lemons, super tough, and you shouldn't have any problems. So I just keep this fairly moist, but not super wet. I've got a 50% shade cloth in my shade house, and I just pop it to the side and just check on it kind of daily, especially like today when it's so hot. You just want to make sure that your seed trays aren't drying out. Then what will happen, now I'm almost embarrassed to show you this because this I discovered in my nursery, got lost. These are bush lemons. I threw all of the seeds in this pot and they've all come up. So they're quite root bound. You can see, unfortunately, I've let them go too long, but that's okay. They will survive. So I'll show you what to do. What you want to do is take your pot, and the same will be for this container. When they're big enough to handle, what you want to do, you can kind of dig them out individually if they're not root bound, but in this case I'm going to turn the pot upside down, squeeze the edges of the pot as I rotate it in my hand. That will loosen all the soil, and you'll see then they come out nicely. Now, very root bound, but that's okay. So what I do is I just kind of drop it in the bucket just to loosen off the soil. And what I'm looking to do is just separate them basically, and I'll just show you how I put them up. Okay, so once you start, they actually come apart fairly easily. Okay, now a good thing to note as well, because these were just kind of in river sand, they've been in there for quite some time, you'll see the leaves are starting to go this yellow color. So citrus do love their nitrogen, so they definitely need to be put in their potting mixture with some new fresh compost to get those nutrients, and they should then turn a lush green. So here's a nice one. So I'll just grab a pot like this to pot them up. So what I do actually is just place the seedling in the pot, hold it in place, and then I just fill it with the potting mixture. I'll use a tray, I'm just trying to find one here. I'll use a tray, something like this, and then I'll have a production line going, and then I'll just water them all in at the end. Just makes it more efficient. Okay, and then I just kind of push down around the sides. That'll get rid of the air pockets. Oops, chop it up. And there is a freshly potted bush lemon. It should be much happier now, so I'll put that aside, and then I'll continue the others later. Now, what you'll see as well, so this one has been in the pot, I'd say probably a year. You can see as well, this one desperately needs potting up. So again, if you start seeing the roots coming out of the bottom, for this one, for example, because they're so tough, at this height, I would be planting that in the ground. So as I mentioned before, make your life easier. Wait till you're going to get a lot of rain. The soil's a lot easier to work as well. And then I just put it in, make sure I mulch it, let the rain kind of water it in, and then basically leave it. And the beauty is as well, if for some reason some of your bush lemons don't make it, they were free and you'll have heaps of them, so you can always replace them. And then sometimes you might want to pot them up into a bigger pot as well. So this one is definitely ready to go in the ground. So there you have it. So that's the bush lemon, super easy to propagate, super hardy, a great tree to start off with in your food forest. But I would say as well, they will definitely take a few years to fruit. If you're after fruit straight away, what I did when we first moved here is I went and bought a selection of grafted citrus trees. And then what I did is, because we didn't have any fruit straight away when we planted the trees, I was just collecting the fruit from the side of the road and propagating these as I went. But yes, definitely if you want fruit straight away, start with a grafted tree. But these are a great tough alternative. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos on how to propagate an entire food forest for free. Thanks so much. Bye.